Everyone to thank you, Alexa. Welcome everyone to our Community Conversations Turning the Page series, a discussion of books about systemic racism and its impact on health, healthcare, biomedical research, and health disparities in America. This book series was started by Dr. Christine Bridges, who suckered me into partnering with her on this so she could offload some of the workload on me. No, I volunteered. And we do this because we think it's important part of faculty and staff development here as part of our collective efforts to learn and develop a shared language around the impact of racism on health, racism as one of the central structural determinants of health in the United States. So our purpose is to understand history, patterns, and systems. We practice talking about racism and racial inequities. Another purpose is the personal learning and growth to create a shift within individuals to also provoke an emotional state, whether that be discomfort, empathy, or outrage, or some of all of the above, that raises our consciousness. And we also want to remind everyone that purpose is to commit to actions and systems change. And that's why we do this series. This is part 2 of our series on The Heat Will Kill You First, Life and Death on a Scorched Planet by Wall Street, or by, by Jeff Goodell, who is a journalist and senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. He's also a 2020 Guggenheim Fellow. He's contributing editor to Rolling Stone, which I tried to call the Wall Street Journal a minute ago, and then couldn't remember the name Rolling Stone. So it's been one of those types of mornings. Hopefully my words come more freely as we go on through the presentation. He has published over 7 books on climate and environmental issues, including The Coal, The Dirty Secret Behind America's Energy Future, How to Cool the Planet, Geoengineering, and the Audacious Quest to Fix Earth's Climate, and The Water Will Come, Rising Seas, Sinking Cities, and the Remaking of the Civilized World. All of them fit perfect or as neat companions to this book, so we highly recommend those. As well as this one. And a reminder, you do not have to read along as we go through the chapters. Today we're covering chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it is not necessary for you to have read in order to participate today. We like to get a summary and then talk about the major points covered in the text, and then try to have a discussion around those major points. So just for a reprimer for those of you who weren't able to join us last time, the book starts off talking about our place in the solar system in what's called the Goldilocks zone. And that means we have average year-round temperatures that range between 45 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Our human body temperature is regulated between 95 degrees and 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything higher than that, we're in trouble. Anything lower than that, we're in really bad trouble. But after 250 years of burning fossil fuels, we are really, really, really disturbing our Goldilocks zone as it exists here on the planet. Global temperatures have risen 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit, but as surviving through this summer's heat wave or last summer's heat wave or the summer before that's heat wave, it may feel like a whole lot warmer than that. But more than halfway, we are more than halfway to the threshold for dangerous climate change, with which climate scientists estimate to be anything at or above 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit of an average global temperature rise. The purpose of why Goodell wrote this book is to get us to think about heat in a different way. As he writes, heat is an active force, one that can bend railroad tracks and kill you before you even understand that your life is at risk. When heat comes, it's invisible. It doesn't bend tree branches or blow hair across your face to let you know it's arrived. The ground doesn't shake. It just surrounds you and works on you in ways that you can't anticipate or control. You sweat, your heart races, you're thirsty, your vision blurs. Plants look like they're crying. Birds vanish from the sky and take refuge in deep shade. Cars are untouchable. Colors fade. The air smells burned. You can imagine fire even before you see it. And the major reason why we chose this book as one of the books in our series is because the unique vulnerability that poverty and racism adds to our issues of climate change. And as he explained so eloquently, poverty is vulnerability when it comes to heat. In a world of heat-driven chaos, heat exposes deep fissures in inequity and injustice. If you have money, you can turn up the air conditioning, stock up on food and bottled water, and install a backup generator in case there's a blackout. If things get bad enough, you can sell your house and move to a cooler place. If you're poor, on the other hand, you swelter in an uninsulated apartment or trailer with no air conditioning or an old, inefficient machine that you can't afford to run. You can't move somewhere cooler because you're afraid of losing your job and you don't have the savings to start over. Quote, we're all in the same storm, but we're not all in the same boat. Heather McTeer Toney, former mayor of Greensville, Mississippi, said during testimony to Congress, some of us are sitting in aircraft carriers where others are just bobbing along. He also talks about the social impact of extreme heat. Heat waves ramped up from global warming have cost the global economy over 16 trillion, according to researchers at Dartmouth. It also lowers children's test scores. It raises the risk of miscarriage and pregnancy. It also increases death rates from heart and kidney disease. People are more impulsive and prone to conflict, and it increases racial slurs and hate speech in social media, and also increases suicides, gun violence, rapes, and other violent crime. When looking at how heat affects us as humans, we reach a heat stroke point when our bodies reach a temperature of 107 degrees. And when that happens, we have an altered mental state. There's alteration in how we sweat. We have nausea and start vomiting. Our skin is flushed. We breathe rapidly as our heart rate is also racing, and we have extreme headaches.